Back in my day, which would have been about 1988, when it was Farrers, Pringle jumpers, and Revell shoes. There was pretty much two options open to people like myself. One was leave school, get a job. One was stand and do A levels and then get a job or go on to university if you wanted to follow a professional career. And I know that's changed. Where we are now, that's absolutely changed, and that's why you guys are here now. So, what are the options now? If you don't want to go down one of those routes, what are the options that young people can take now?
Well, for a start, I'm not going to discourage anybody from taking the University of Life approach because for a lot of people, that's what's going to work. And so is going to conventional undergraduate university. For a lot of people, if not most people, one of those two approaches is still the right way to go. But what we do with degree apprenticeships, and it's quite important to specify degree apprenticeships here because there's a whole host of different apprenticeships types and sizes available. But with degree apprenticeships, it gives you a chance of mixing those two pathways together. So ostensibly, we can say that we turn the University of Life into the University of University, because you've had a chance to do both things at the same time.
Okay, that's good. So we've got this scenario where an individual they've decided they want further education, but don't really want to commit to living away from home or going away and having the debt that's now associated potentially with doing a degree. I know I'm dropping my daughter off at Sheffield tomorrow, guys, to start her degree, and there's a fair amount of cost involved in that. So how do these apprenticeships work in reality? How do they work for the individual? How do they work for the employee? And I guess what are the benefits for both parties of doing this?
Well, one of the major things, and you identified it at the start, I think, but agencies especially, but industry more broadly, the creative industries have had a real struggle over the last decade or more in keeping hold of talent in one breath, and the other side of it, finding the best new talent.
Yeah.
And I'm recognizing that's a bigger problem. My background is in agency work as well. So trust me, I've been there. I've been on the other side and seen the way that contracts end up going. And I think that's a really good place to start with degree apprenticeships. With what we do in art and design at Hallam, the opportunity to get paid full time whilst getting a degree is a really compelling offer to any new starter to industry. We find that when you're advertising a position linked to a degree apprenticeship, you get a significantly higher quality and quantity of applications for those roles. It allows any company that's looking to recruit new starters to widen the pool they're looking at and to really make sure they're getting the best quality possible candidate. Young people today really switched on. A lot of them have recognised, just like you've identified, university is an expensive business these days. They might also recognise they really want to get that degree. That's what the degree apprenticeship does. It gives you that chance to, well, as we say in the title, earn whilst you learn. But get that real world experience, that University of Life approach, without accumulating any student debt at all, which obviously is a massive, compelling offer to a student. But degree apprenticeships are started not in partnership with companies. We don't actually start with the students. Universities can't initiate their own apprenticeships. There has to be an industry demand for a degree apprenticeship to come into existence. And we start from a company perspective. We look at what it is that any industry needs and ensure that we're providing that. So, with degree apprenticeships, it's also really important to recognise we're open not just to school leavers. Certainly in the packaging degree that I run, there's a huge skills gap, not just with new starters into industry, but with employees who are already inside companies. And that's where we're looking to fill that gap as well. Our course is a kind of mixture between about 50% new starters to industry and the other half are people who have already been in position who are looking to upskill. So that's where we also feel the other side of the equation. We help with recruitment with new starters, but we can also help with retention of existing staff. People who come on board these programs feel invested in, they feel supported by their workplace and are more likely to stay in their position as their career develops. And I think that's a really important thing. You get happy and productive new starters and you can retain your valued upskilling employers.
Absolutely. I mean, that thing, I'm glad you brought that up, because I know, speaking to you before, that is something that agencies are always focused on. We bring in this great new talent, and then trying to keep them within the business becomes a challenge in itself. So having these degree apprenticeships that could be offered to people already in the business to upskill themselves, I think is great news for agencies. I think it'd be great to have a quick chat with Sam from Far and Beyond, because Sam's obviously gone down this route. Sam, really appreciate you coming on this today. So, from your point of view as somebody that's actually going through this, tell us a little bit. How does it feel? What's good for you? What do you like? Have you fitted this into your world? And still having time free on a Saturday to put your IKEA flat pack furniture together, which I know you love doing. So, tell us a little bit about that, Sam.
So I've never been to university before, and my boss wanted to start looking at developing more packaging in the company. So he the apprenticeship was put forward to me, and he said, "Would you like to go to university, study packaging, everything about it?" And I sat on it for a few days. Like, I've never been to uni. Is it an opportunity I want? I read all about the benefits of it. I don't have to pay anything, which is great. I get a degree, excellent. So I thought, okay, yeah, I want to do this. Um, so when I left college, for me, university wasn't right to do then, and I'd already settled on an apprenticeship then. So I'd previously done one, and then it got offered to me again. I thought, I know what to sort of expect. So in my eyes, I was like, okay, I'm ready to do this. So I signed up, and yeah, everything I'm learning about the company is stuff that I would never thought I would learn about previously, if that makes sense. So
Yep.
stuff like supply chain management. I deal with the suppliers already at the company, but it's looking at it on a whole and stretching that knowledge further. So I'm gaining knowledge for that, and then I can use that in my uni work and develop that further.
Okay. And how do you find degrees? There's a lot of effort required to put in and get a degree. Any professional qualification is the same. So you're sort of going down the whole route of professional qualification whilst juggling and managing the day-to-day demands of the agency, of your role. How do you find that, Sam? Is it something that's quite easy? But how do you find that on a day-to-day, week-by-week basis?
Uh, some days it's easy, some days it's a bit more challenging because with work, obviously we don't know what's going to come, we don't know what's
Yep.
happening, so it's having to manage that around work as well. But I get support from my boss, I get support from uni. It helps me figure out what I need to do, how I need to plan my work, how I need to plan in any assignment time, and it's like figuring it out as we go. But I think 1 day a week is what I get to do my university work, and that helps me just like focus what I need to do. And then I come back and tell my boss, this is what I've done at uni, this is what
Yep.
I've done at uni work, and he's pretty impressed with it. So
So I guess Peter and Sam, is the university side, is it 1 day a week? Is it 1 day a week with evenings? How does it work in reality?
If I can step in on that one,
Yeah, sure.
because it taps into something, especially with SMEs, agencies, that the time commitment. I'm not going to pretend it's not something that we make an ask of anybody who comes on board the program, but we've designed the way that we deliver this degree to respect the professional environment. With the packaging program, in total, it's 40 days of face-to-face contact time in university, spread over 3.5 years. So it's not an awful lot of
It's not
face-to-face
exhaustive.
time. Yeah. We do it in a block format. So we run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. About once every 1.5 months is probably the way it would average out. We front load a little bit. We don't spread it out. So sometimes it's a bit more intense at the beginning of a module. But the way that it really works is encouraging and designing most of our assignments and projects to use what people are doing in their workplace. We don't give people, in most circumstances, additional activities to do that are tangential to their day-to-day operations. We get people to use the work that they are already doing as their university work. And by doing that, it encourages people to lean into their company's activities, to really understand the projects that they're involved in. We're really good in this country at training. But there's a big difference between training and education. Training, you can teach somebody to fulfill a specific activity, but you're not really necessarily showing them why you're undertaking that activity. Within education, what you're doing is, yeah, you're helping them develop those skills and maybe develop that knowledge, but to get that strategic understanding of the reasons behind those kinds of activity. I think that's probably why Sam had mentioned the supply chain aspect. We're not a supply chain degree, but anybody working in an agency environment knows you end up dealing with so many different stakeholders if you're bringing something to market with a company, that having that holistic overview of all these different parts of the sector, we have management involvement. We're ultimately still a creative development degree mostly, but we allow people to bring in those other really crucial aspects and learn. And through that leaning in and through that use of the active workplace projects as the mainstay of the course, we think we found a way of balancing that commitment that we're asking from the employer of releasing their staff for the development time with us, that adds value. When we're flim-flamming it in a slightly more sales thing, we talk about mutual return on investment all the time.
Yep.
So yeah, the student's getting a great deal because they're getting the degree. They're having to balance it with what they're doing in their workplace, but at the same time, the employer's getting a more productive member of staff, somebody who's really leaning in. It's a shame we haven't got Sam's boss here to tell us whether that's true or not really, but no, I'm a true convert to the impact that an apprenticeship can make compared to the conventional route.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. And I think, the getting the raw talent in and going through the degree also enables the agency to shape that individual into a way that they would like the individual to work within their framework, within their organisation. So I think that's sorry about that, guys. So I think that's really, really important. And the other thing that I think is really key is that the ability for those people already in the business to have the option to join one for the retention side, because we know the cost of recruitment, both in fees and in disruption to the business, is huge. So we know that. So on the surface of it, this all looks great. It's like, why are not most agencies doing this? Why are agencies not jumping on and going, yeah, let's do this? Let's get degree apprenticeships really rocking in our agency. So I guess the questions there would be around, okay, we know not every agency is doing this. Some agencies may not even be aware that these are in existence. So probably Joe, what's the catch to doing these? The times, the risks, what do agencies do to have in place? How do they make sure that going down this route is an absolute success for them?
Okay, I would say we have to be upfront with employers about the time commitment involved. So typically our degree apprenticeship programs will be 3 or 4 years long. And we would say, realistically, you're not going to start seeing value from your apprentice. If they're a new starter, you're not going to start seeing them adding value to the team and the business until end of the first year, start of the second year. So that means for you as an employer, year one, you're spending a lot of time mentoring, sitting next to them, holding the hand, explaining to them in detail exactly what you need them to do. Because for some of them, if they're a new starter, it might be their first full-time job. And we can all relate to that, when we started work, however long ago. So I would say to employers, we have to be clear with you. This is a great way to bring talent into your business and develop it and retain it, but you've got to put some time into supporting them as well. I would say for SMEs, the financial cost is low. It's peanuts, really. So you're getting, as an SME, you're getting 95% government funding of the course fee. You're paying 5% spread over the 3 years, 4 years. So really, it's a time commitment. The final point I would make is the paperwork. It's a nightmare. It's fiddly. It's annoying. It's excessive. It's over the top, but it comes with government funding rules. We have to comply with those funding rules. It's a necessary evil. So trying to get somebody enrolled on an apprenticeship involves you having to tick a lot of boxes, fill in a lot of forms, that some of it duplicates information that you've already done. I would say it's annoying. But it's part of the deal. It's a trade-off. Yeah. You can't just get this great talent into the business for free.
No.
You've got to put
And
that time in.
Is a typical, I know my daughter's going, I said Sheffield tomorrow, and I think her course fees are about £9 a year. Is that similar fees for the apprenticeship?
Okay, so I'll give you one example. One of our courses in this space is the Digital User Experience UX degree apprenticeship. It's a 4-year program. The total course fee is 24,000 for everything. So if you're an SME, you're paying 1,200 spread over 4 years. So it's £300 a year for the course fee. Plus you paying the apprentice as well.
What's the government's definition of an SME? 5 million.
So when I say SME, I'm talking about a non-levy paying company. So any company with an annual salary bill below 3 million. Yeah. Which is, I would say, the vast majority of agencies in this sector. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so that's really interesting. I wasn't aware of that. So actually, from a cost point of view, yes, you've got the cost of the employees' wages, but actually the fees to get them to that level where you can actually mentor them and coach them to your way of working does feel a bit.
It's low risk, and if you lose them, if they're left in the second year or during the course, there's no financial penalty to you as the employer. We just stop invoicing you that £300 a year.
And it just stops. Okay, so what are the type of things Joe's at Far and Beyond, and there's other agencies who've got people on this course. What do they need to do to make it a success? What support, what help do you give them to ensure that at the end of this, Sam's going to come away from this with his degree a far better place than he was 3-4 years ago? What are the things you guys put in place and work with the agencies to make sure that is a success?
Well, there's a whole number of things that we do. It would be quite easy just to put up the program and treat it like a night school. And that's maybe the difference in the past. People like me and you, Jay, we might have gone and drummed up our certificates in the evening in our own time. Obviously, that's not the approach we take. The lessons happen during the working week with online stuff interspersed throughout the year. So we're in regular contact with our apprentices during their working week. We see the work they're involved in and are able to mentor and help them as well from that perspective. So we really see what's happening in that workplace. But beyond that, every student gets given what's called a work-based learning coach, a WBLC, who visit the apprentice both in their workplace and online, who get to know the company, who get to meet the mentors and employers, and give personal, individualized support and advice of how to work their way through the program, projects they could work on, methods that might help support them. We also have a huge amount of digital content to support apprentices. The whole university machinery that exists to support conventional undergraduate students, so student support services, mental health and wellbeing, are all made equally available to apprentices, despite the fact they only have relatively limited contact. You get all the backing of an enormous multi-million pound institution supporting you. And that's where, to start with, I would say how genuinely open to all we are. There's kind of a sense that apprenticeships were developed with large corporates in mind, people with big HR departments and well-established pathways for succession planning, etc. But I genuinely believe the way we do things with our coaching system, with the support that people like Joe can give to SMEs when they want to sign up to the program. Joe will probably tell you that we can help with recruitment. We offer that as a free service at Hallam. If you're looking to recruit, we will run the advertisements for you. We'll help design the advertisement to help recruit. We support SMEs all the way through the process and effectively offer a kind of, it's a bit cringy, but a professional development pathway that you'd expect to get at a large company, almost as an IKEA flat pack. And I know that, Jay, you're not a major fan, but if you ever wanted an IKEA flat pack version of professional development programs, it's what we offer.
This is the thing.
Absolutely. I mean, ultimately, the cliche that I got when I started in the industry in the 90s, which makes me cringe, but that you learn more in your first year on a job than you'll ever learn in 3 years or 4 years at university. And you still hear people say it now. And it's not that that's not true, but imagine what happens if you do those things together. Imagine what happens if you're already seeing that real world. And Joe's not wrong, but if you're an 18-year-old coming into a business from scratch, no, you're probably not going to be delivering business critical activity in your first 6 weeks. But that would be the case with or without a degree. I'm sure anybody listening to this who's taken on a new starter straight from school, we encourage people to move very quickly away from making cups of tea and into leaning into that business critical activity and ensure that they're understanding what they're doing and why they're doing it. So yeah, in terms of bringing people up to speed and making impact at a smaller company, genuinely, that's where we're pretty hot.
Yeah, okay. And how would agency leaders listening to this thinking, you know, this feels right for me. We've got some positions we'd like to fill. We've been struggling to fill those roles at that lower level. I'm actually going to really go out and do this. Where do they start? Where do they reach out to? Where do they go and find the information, the courses that are available?
I'll lead to Joe for that one. I suspect it's probably the best place to start.
Yeah, so any initial inquiries, if it could come through to our business inbox, so that would be business@shu.ac.uk.
Okay, so drop you guys an email and you can pick it up from there and have a more in-depth
conversation. Yeah,
fantastic. That's good. So we're at 53. I said we try to finish about 55 so people can get cups of tea and everything. Guys, today's been really, really good speaking. I've learned some great stuff. Not the 95% something that I think is amazing. I wasn't aware of that at all. So if you are prepared to go through the government tick box exercise to actually get that funding is amazing. Sam, really appreciate you coming on this and giving your view on it. And good luck, my friend, with the degree.
Thank you.
No doubt this is a very incestuous industry, so no doubt our paths will cross at some point in the future.
Yep.
You know, I always ask on one final question, so people can go away, have a takeaway from this. So one final question, I guess, if you could give an agency one piece of advice around entering into this arrangement with degree apprenticeships, what would it be?
For me, it's just don't assume that degree apprenticeships are only for the big corporate players. We're ready to help you, whether you're a company of 3 or a company of 3,000.
Brilliant.